Turtles are assaulting the Technodrome! Inside are the Foot Clan's weapon storage chamber, Krang's laboratory, and Shredder's master control room! Huh? Turtles? Oh, they've been spotted! Now they'll have to watch out for the I Spy radar, that hidden ooze pit, the spike back door! Turtle soup time! Oh no, an ooze scanner, a brain scrambler, and mutant manacles! Can Leonardo rescue them? Sure hope so!
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles!
From Playmate!
We now present Turtlecast, a six-part podcast delving into the history of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Next up, we got TMNT from 2007. It was released March 23rd, 2007, directed by Kevin Munro. Budget was $34 million. The gross was $95 million. Did you guys see this when it came out? I didn't see it until a few weeks ago for the first time ever.
This was up until Mutant Mayhem came out. This was the only movie of Ninja Turtles that I got to see in theaters.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Billy, when did you see this?
I saw this movie eventually, but not when it came out.
Yeah. Jimmy?
I saw it in the theater.
Nice.
So
Nice.
far, we're 4 for 4.
The cast of this one's kind of interesting. April O'Neil is Sarah Michelle Gellar. Casey Jones, played by Chris Evans. Splinters, played by Mako. Winter is Patrick Stewart.
Did this turn into a Game of Thrones podcast?
It could.
Make it so.
I see what you did there. The narrator is Lawrence Fishburne for some reason. Kurai is Sai Shang. I know.
And she's from Crouching
Zai-
Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Josh Young.
Okay. Donatello is Mitchell Whitfield. Raphael is acclaimed voice actor Nolan North. Leonardo is James Arnold Taylor. Mikey is played by another Mikey Kelly. General Aguila is played by the 2012 Shredder, Kevin Michael Richardson. And there's a diner cook in there played by Kevin Smith, randomly. Synopsis from IMDb: when the world is threatened by an ancient evil, the Turtles must reunite and overcome their faults in order to stand against it. Some fun facts really quick. Mako, who is the voice of Splinter, died a day after it was announced that he was to play Splinter.
Yep.
Most of his recordings were finished, so that's what they used. Originally, established voice actors had already recorded stuff for April O'Neil, Casey Jones, Winter, and the narrator, but when the Weinstein Company took over the distribution, they recasted and recorded with known celebs like Sarah Michelle Gellar and Chris Evans, Patrick Stewart, and whatnot.
That feels on point.
So what you're telling me is that the Weinsteins just forced their way into the situation.
Yeah.
And really imposed their will on
We are going to move on from that.
I'm sorry.
This is supposedly a sequel to the original trilogy. This was originally supposed to start a new trilogy, all animated, of course. Kevin Munro, the director of the film, has gone on to say that TMNT 2 was supposed to adapt City of War, which I actually bought the first issue of that story recently at Comic Book World.
Nice.
It's the last time that Laird and Eastman worked together for a really, really long time. Shredder was also supposed to be involved at some point during that sequel. TMNT 3 would feature the Triceratons and the Technodrome's arrival to Earth. Originally in this movie, Raphael was supposed to die, but he was going to be brought back at the end of the film. But Peter Laird actually vetoed that idea because Peter Laird still had control. In this one, we finally get Leonardo versus Raphael. What did you guys think of the fight as well as the result of said fight?
I literally giggled like a child in the theater. And this was when I was still dating my first girlfriend, and she wasn't like an uber nerd for Turtles or anything. The poor girl, she was just going to the movies with her boyfriend because he was excited for the new Ninja Turtle movie. And it was kind of like middle of the day, I'm pretty sure, too, because I remember there not being a lot of people in the theater. And literally, I mean, out loud, I started like bouncing like a little kid when I could tell what was good. Because, you know, they do the fight that's technically, what was Raphael's his alias, the Night Watcher?
Yeah, something like
that.
So the fight starts between, technically it's Leo and Night Watcher. So, like, once that starts, I'm like, oh, and Leo doesn't know. Oh, and Leo does. Oh, my God, they're going to fight. Like, I am bouncing and giggling like a child. So, yeah, I was super happy they did the fight. And the fact that they kind of almost do 2 fights in one, they do sort of split the difference almost.
Yeah.
But I love the way that it went. I think it's arguably the high point of the movie.
Mm-hmm. Billy, what do you think of the fight?
I'm agreeing with Mike on that one. When I watched it as well, like I said, it wasn't in theater. Sorry, like the rest of them.
I just saw it 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago for the first time.
But I was excited to see that, Night Watcher and against Leo, and Leo not knowing.
Right.
This is who it is. This is Raphael. I have no idea.
Right.
I loved it. That was like and I have a lot of thoughts on this movie, but when that fight happened, I was like, okay, this is pretty freaking great.
Yeah.
Jimmy, what did you think of the fight?
It's just like throwing raw meat to to the fans.
Yeah.
I loved it.
I do remember. I still think it's weird that like when they have the fight and he doesn't realize it's Raph. You would think, especially with Leo being the one who studies all the time and who's kind of a know-it-all, you think he would have realized it was Raph before the helmet, especially considering that Casey Jones knew it was Raph with the helmet on.
Yeah.
So, like, it didn't make sense that his brother wouldn't, especially, like, that
That's
brother.
true.
I think it's just
I think it's just lazy writing.
I think it's that Clark Kent Superman logic.
Yeah.
Because you would think, like I would think, you'd recognize the fighting style at least.
Yeah, like the way that he fights.
Right.
Like, you fight like
true.
Raph.
That's
You
true.
fight angry like my brother, who
Yep.
is conspicuous by his absence right now. You look like a big metal turtle. So
A couple other fun facts. Jackie Chan was considered to play Splinter at one point, which of course happened later on. And there's even a possibility of Megan Fox playing April in this.
For
real?
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
you wouldn't
she's
been able to
up for it.
see her, and that's the whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
No.
Jim Cummings plays multiple voices in this, also making him the one voice actor to return from the 1987 animated series.
Oh, bother.
Yeah.
All right, what did we like about TMNT? I'll start with Jimmy.
The end of this movie has something that doesn't really happen in a lot of Turtle things. Like, all of our main characters are there to fight and just be cool together. We have all 4 turtles. We have Casey Jones, Splinter, which that doesn't really happen that often with his friends, and April is also doing and like, this movie's pretty mid, but like, that stuff's really cool. And it's like, I've become a kid as I watch it. I'm like, here's all my, look at them fighting. And there's like a big, there's like one of those shots that Guardians just did, where it's like never ending. It's like, we just keep going, and like all the characters are fighting. So I think that's really cool. What was this part? Is this me telling about the things I really like? I got really into that scene. I'm like, this is about all the things I like about the movie, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, Splinter looks like Chester Cheetah.
And you like that?
And I really like that.
You like
Now I can't unsee that.
I think this is.
I didn't think about that.
I think other than 1990, I think this is the cutest Splinter. And Mako does the voice.
Mako, yes.
At first, it's a little like, yes, and I'm like, what? Oh, that doesn't sound, because it doesn't sound like what you think Splinter would sound like. But by the end, he's like, I want to watch my stories, and I'm like, okay, I'm on board. I'm totally on board with the Splinter.
Yeah. The helmet that Raphael wore as the
Night Watcher.
Night Watcher.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That was really cool. I like the idea that they kept the helmet in in the story, even though it was already, that part of the story was pretty much done with.
Right.
Because at the end, they save it.
Right.
Yeah.
And they put it on the stuff with all the other things you remember.
With the Shredder Hog.
for one
more.
The egg timer's there.
It
Part
is.
3, the egg timer's there. Yeah.
That's true.
All the nostalgic stuff
Yeah.
that from the previous movies
It's basically
are still there.
The only connective tissue.
Yes,
it has
it
to
is.
those previous
Yes.
movies that it's
There's no
supposedly a part of.
But I guess
Right.
I'll take it.
Right.
I'll take it,
Right.
even though that's the only
Yeah.
thing that's there.
Yeah,
Does it feel like it, though? Does
No.
it really feel like
It-
this
it
is
does
like...
not.
Does that feel
No.
like... This April feel like the April from the earlier...
No.
it
No,
doesn't.
not at all.
I think the
No.
Turtles kind of feel like it, but that's about it.
I could see the progression of that, yeah.
it feels
Yeah.
like they were just trying to make April a heartthrob.
Well, it worked.
It did. It did.
Emphasis on the throb.
Mike, what did you like about TMNT?
I like the stuff. I like where the story starts off with a lot. I like the idea of like
The Turtles
They've-
drifting.
they've sort of been laid off,
Yeah.
and I like that. Like Mikey had to find a job, Donnie had to find a job. Raph's been out there doing what Raph does, but they don't know that, so they just think he's being a lazy piece of crap. So like, it's just an interesting dynamic that you don't see a lot with like a superhero story.
Yeah,
So
I
I
like
just
that too.
enjoy
I like
that
that too.
it being that different, and I think that the idea of Donnie as like your friendly neighborhood IT guy
Mhm.
is just spot on and perfect. And also one thing I think what this movie does better than arguably any other Turtle movie is Leo. Leo
Yes.
actually is a character in this movie,
agreed.
and not just a
Yes.
buzzkill like they make him
Yeah.
in every single other movie. I mean, in Ninja Turtles, I think it's in the second one, he is there just to have Raphael stomp his dick every time he speaks.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Every time Leo talks, and they still have that dynamic, obviously, if we get to fight with all their tension,
Yeah.
but it's done better. I go back and forth on the animation, because there's parts where I think the movie looks great, like during the fight when it's raining down on them, you can literally see every drop bounce off of their skin. It looks amazing. But in other scenes in the movie, it looks like a PS2 cutscene.
Yeah.
So, was that a thing you were going to say? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to
I
steal a
mentioned
line.
that. I mentioned that in the group chat.
Okay.
Yeah, what I liked the Leo and Raphael fight. Obviously, I like that everybody comes together at the end. I like that Karai is featured in this movie.
Yeah.
I was like, about time. Took
That was
4
first
movies.
time.
I like Evans as Casey Jones, and I like that it's technically set in the original movie continuity. So I thought that was pretty cool. But guys, what did you not like about TMNT? We'll start with Billy. What did you not like about TMNT?
I did. This is gonna be y'all yelling at me here. I didn't like Evans as Casey Jones.
That's fine.
I didn't either.
Yeah. Okay.
Didn't feel it.
Let's say I didn't- he didn't like it.
I didn't feel it. Yeah. I didn't feel that he was Casey Jones to me in this movie.
He's
Fair.
better than some.
Well, he's better than
Oh,
some.
He's
We will-
way better than some.
We will get to
We'll
that.
get
in a
there.
few- Oh,
We'll
I
get
can't
there.
wait to
We're
start
2
on
movies
that
away
one.
from that.
We'll get
Yeah,
there.
I know.
This movie has a lot of really great, interesting things hanging on it, but the coat rack sucks. It's a very boring, know-nothing story with
Yep.
a nothing villain.
Mhm.
And
Uh-huh.
that's
covered 2 of my things.
that's what kills it. Batman Begins is a much better movie, but that's what this is trying to be. It's like it's promising something more interesting. I know there's not a lot going on here, but just you wait.
Wait till the sequel.
Just you wait the
Yeah.
sequel, and
We'll get
There-
the bad guy.
and there wasn't one. And I'm not
No,
like rubbing
wasn't.
that in. Like I wish they would have got another, because
Oh, yeah.
I think there's a lot of good stuff here.
Mhm.
And I guess did it just bomb? It didn't do well,
it
right?
did. I mean, it did.
It made its money.
It
though.
made a profit, but I guess it just didn't do
It
well.
wasn't enough. Yeah, I just feel bad because, like, and I know the director afterwards was like, "Man, we really had these, like you said, ideas." And I feel bad because I think this could have been something. I think it could have been really good. But yeah, I just think the monsters suck.
Yeah.
A lot of it just sucks, and then like there's nothing going on. But there's some really cool scenes, and the characters are kind of. It works for me, most of it.
The things I didn't like, I saw it like 4 weeks ago. I don't remember the plot at all.
Yeah.
It's so forgettable. Winter's the main villain. Who the hell is this?
He's April's boss. In
I-
it, think?
Yeah. It's
I
very-
love Patrick Stewart, but I don't even know if this character's from the comics or something. I don't. Why should I care about this guy?
Yeah, I was the same way. I couldn't figure out where he come from.
Mike mentioned it earlier, but I hate that the CGI looks like a
Sorry.
PS2 video game. There's even times where you would see like a crane shot, basically, of the city, and then it'll go to a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, and it'll go behind them like it was like some third-person action like
Yeah.
video game. And it did that multiple times, where it's just like, okay, looks like a video game. Like they're not even trying
Right.
to look like a movie. It's very the CGI is very inconsistent in the movie, and the whole movie, in my opinion, is forgettable. I felt like the whole basis for making the movie was, hey, let's do the Raphael Leonardo fight and build around it. Let's come
Yeah.
up with a plot around it.
That's a
Because
fair
if you take
point.
that fight out of this movie, no one's going to care or remember anything about this movie, in my opinion. Mike, what did you not like about TMNT?
I mean, just add on to your point, the animation is just so inconsistent. Again, I think it looks really good in some parts, but for the majority of the movie, it looks like crap. Some of it looks really good when they're in the jungle at the beginning, because a lot of like the sun shining through the trees and whatnot looks really good. But yeah, the animation's really inconsistent. Some of the dialogue is
Atrocious.
garbage. I mean, just cheat, and some of it doesn't even make sense for the characters to be saying it. And like, there's a Casey when Casey and Raph go talk on the rooftop at one point. He basically pulls him out of his apartment with April, and April turns around to say something to him, and he's gone. And instead of what April O'Neil would do, which was, God, just don't get killed, something along those lines, she looks up all longingly at the stars and, be safe. I'm like, what? No!
Yuck.
This
That's
isn't even the
yuck,
April in this movie.
Yeah.
Like, it didn't even make sense for what you've given me for the past 30 minutes, let alone this character for the years beforehand. But, yeah, the movie, it's the worst thing the movie does is being bland.
Yeah.
Kind of tag on to, like, Jimmy's point about the antagonists, like, all 5 of them, if we want to count Winters and his crew all together. This shitty little twist where they kind of try to turn on him at the end and he was really a good guy the whole time is not interesting enough to make the rest of that story matter.
Jimmy, what are we grading this out of 5? What's the scale for TMNT?
We were going with out of 5 birthday party performances by Cowabunga Carl. Ew, I thought it was supposed to be He-Man.
Mike, how many performances, birthday parties by Cowabunga Carl do you give it out of 5?
3. The perfect bland score for the perfect bland movie.
I'm going to pick 2.5 at the middle of the road. Also very bland. Billy.
I'm going with a 2.
Jimmy.
I'm going to agree with Brandon. I think it's 2.5.
2.5.
Oh no! More wacky action turtle wind-ups!
Whoa, what do you mean, dude?
Well, I mean there's Sword Slice and Leonardo with wind-up sword fight in action.
Real sharp.
So is Slice and Dice Shredder with rotating shoulder and elbow armor. He's never been nastier.
The guy's a real creep.
And so's Creepy Crawl and Splinter. He's creeping up on Shredder all by himself.
Hey, you'll never catch him lying down on the job. Got it?
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
From Playmates.
Well, we go from TMNT to back to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. By the way, this was supposed to originally be called Ninja Turtles. We're going to 2014. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie that was produced, of course, by Michael Bay. Produced. He did not direct it. It was released August 8th of 2014. The first Turtle movie did not come out in March. It's directed by Jonathan Liebsman. The budget was $125 million. And this is going to really make you mad, Mike. It grossed $485 million. By far the most profitable Turtle movie to date. Did you see it in theaters, Mike?
No.
Jimmy, did you see it in theaters?
So far, this is the only one that I haven't. Out of all of them, it might be the only one I didn't see in theaters. Actually.
I did not see this in theaters.
It is.
Did you see it in theaters?
It's the second one I didn't see in theaters. I actually saw it with my former roommate Derek Sturgeon and his son when it came out the first time. But
I saw mine on a like streaming service later on.
that's probably the best way to do it. The cast is playing April O'Neil, the legendary Megan Fox.
You son of a bitch.
Vern, coming straight from the cartoon, which I didn't notice that when I first saw it. Will Arnett.
Same last name too, Vernon Fenwick. I'm real impressed they did that.
Yes.
Eric Sachs is played by William Fichtner, which I've always really liked him. Splinter is played by Tony Shalhoub, of all people. Monk.
Yep.
Raphael, played by Alan Richardson, who wasn't really anybody then, but is now known as Reacher in the Amazon Prime series.
Also, he's on Titans. That's hot.
He is on Titans. Mikey is played by Noel Fisher. Leonardo is voiced by Johnny Knoxville for some reason.
Yeah.
Donnie is voiced by Jeremy Howard. Shredder is voiced by Tohru Masumune. Karai is played by Manae Noji. Bernadette is played by Whoopi Goldberg. And I didn't notice this character in there, but according to IMDb, Baxter Stockman was played by K. Todd Freeman. Was that like cut, or was Baxter in there and I didn't?
There's a lot of stuff that was reconfigured.
There's a lot of stuff cut in the second one.
Yeah,
I just watched that
a lot of stuff.
Okay,
so it's very
I
possible.
don't remember Baxter being there.
The synopsis is: when a kingpin threatens New York City, a group of mutated turtle warriors must emerge from the shadows to protect their home. I'm surprised that Michael Bay didn't call this mutated turtle warriors. To be honest, let's do some fun facts real quick before we get into it, because I know we have thoughts. Thoughts.
Yeah, we have.
This was originally called Ninja Turtles, like I said earlier, but after that was announced, fans got mad. So to please the fans, they added Teenage Mutant onto the actual title. And if you look at the logo, you can kind of tell, because Ninja Turtles is very stylized, and then Teenage Mutant is just kind of like in text above
I didn't really think
like,
of that,
like Rare or like Helvetica or something like that. The VFX artists incorporated facial features of various actors into some of the Turtles' appearances. Like Raphael had expressions that reminded people of Russell Crowe and Clint Eastwood. Mikey, Bill Murray of all people. Leonardo had facial expressions of Tom Hanks and Russell Crowe. Yet again, they loved Russell Crowe.
What are you talking
I don't
about?
I don't
either.
My mind.
So much work into
I'm
something that
going
didn't
by
matter.
what the artist has
I was
said.
thinking of something else, and my
Yeah.
mind lapsed for a second and came back to what you're saying. I was like, what the hell is
Yeah.
Brandon talking about? Like, this sounds insane.
Yeah.
Donatello apparently had facial features of Leonard Nimoy at times.
What?
And Splinter featured kind of mannerisms by Toshiro Mifune, who was like big back in the day. in
They're
martial
putting
arts
far
movies.
too much work and thought into this.
Yeah.
Like,
Vulcans don't lie.
The early scripts for this movie had the Turtles be aliens from Dimension X. I remember when that was announced. People got
Bay
mad
said
about
it,
that.
and the internet went
Yeah.
crazy.
And Kevin Eastman actually didn't mind it since
I remember that.
Ooze mutagen was originally an alien substance.
That's what I thought they meant
in the
actually.
comics.
Yeah.
Fox, Knoxville, and Arnett did the movie for their kids. Here's two people that auditioned for April O'Neil include Anna Kendrick and Jimmy, your girlfriend Elizabeth Olsen.
I would have been fine with it.
I would have been fine with either one of them. I'm a huge
I
Anna
love
Kendrick fan.
I love Anna Kendrick.
Yeah.
Oh, she's
I like Anna
adorable.
Kendrick.
Killing that movie.
Michael Bay thought the first cut of the film was too dark, so they added a bunch of comedy in the reshoots because you know how hilarious this movie is.
Mm-hmm.
This is, like I said earlier, the highest-grossing Turtle movie to date. Megan Fox found out she was pregnant 2 weeks into filming this movie.
Oh,
which
really? I
is
didn't
kind
know
of
that.
crazy.
Huh.
Yeah, and another a big plot twist that was also scrapped was Eric Sachs was supposed to secretly be Shredder the entire time.
They went back and shot the scenes.
Yeah.
Reshot those scenes where he's talking to
And-
and it's so
When you watch-
obvious.
it's so obvious.
It's so-
like it's
yeah.
so telegraphed.
Yeah.
But it was changed because of the Iron Man 3 Mandarin debacle.
Yeah.
And
They should have known better than to do. Yeah, that was just a big mistake to whitewash Shredder. It was not a good idea.
And also, the Turtles don't appear fully until the 20-minute mark. Let's be positive first, guys. What did you like about the 2014 Turtle movie? I'm going to start with Jimmy.
What you liked about it? Not
Google
just-
has something to say first.
Well, I don't think Megan Fox is the problem. I never really had a problem. I mean, she's wrong in every way, but that's not the problem with the movie. So I'm positive. I'm trying to make a positive out of
I need positive,
something
Jimmy.
it is positive because I think she's fine. I think she's fine in the movie for what she's asked to do. I like that Will Arnett is there, and I like that he's playing a character from something I remember when I was 7. So I like that. I will say this. Okay, let me say this. I really railed on this when it came out because I hated the designs when it came out.
Yeah.
I thought that is something that will not last. There's a reason the 87 Turtles are still on everything because they're adorable, and the designs will last forever. And most people were just like, why do you care? Eastman and Laird sold out, so why do you care with this? Why do you care? And they're like, the Turtles made a rock album that they sold at Pizza Hut. Why does it matter if this is good or not? And my argument was, well, that doesn't mean it can't be good. So people, I went out, I'm older now, and I watch this now, and I'm like, it's not so bad. Maybe because I've seen other things that are worse, but this is not good. But no one's childhoods should be hurt or anything by this movie. It's not great. I hate that Platinum Dunes made this movie because I don't like their remake philosophy. But it's not the worst thing that I've ever seen. It might be the worst of these movies we've watched, but it's not Hitler. I just said Hitler. I didn't mean
We
to
will
say
talk
it.
about the
I
Hitler
didn't mean to
story
say it.
in the finale. I
Jimmy-
promise.
Oh wait, because Megan Fox compared Michael Bay to Hitler. That's why she was thrown out of the
What?
Transformers
That's why
movies.
she was thrown out of
That's a
Transformers.
thing?
originally. And Michael and Bay didn't mind it.
Huh?
That's why he brought her back.
He brought her back. Yeah.
He's like, I'm
He's like, you know what? You were kind of on point with that one. I overreacted. I'm sorry. You can have a job.
But now she's writing a book, so look out. Look out, Michael Bay.
Oh man,
'Cause
I'm sure that's going to be a
Fox is coming for you.
Mike, give me something positive that you liked about this movie? Something positive.
I think, and you decide if this is a positive thing or me just trying to make it sound positive. I think that they expertly made the exact movie they set out to make. As in, they set out to make a big summer blockbuster tentpole picture with the Ninja Turtles in it, and that's what they made.
I'll accept that.
A lot of the action in both of the Platinum Dunes movies is very much that kind of action. It's Expendables. It's what the fast movies are now. And that is certainly a thing that people like, and probably has a lot to do with that box office number, in my opinion. Is that it looked familiar to people, even though it looked familiar to people who wanted Ninja Turtles, because not everybody is as hard-nosed about this shit as we are. And they were like, "Hey, it's Turtles. They're ninjas still. Cool. I'm down. Here's my money." But then there were people who were like, "Yeah, I go see the big summer blockbuster movies. If it's got explosions and shit in it, I'll be there."
Yes.
And that's not me trying to take everything away from this movie that I can by trying to explain its box office results.
We'll get there.
Right. But I would say that that's probably what this movie does best, is it feels like a big summer blockbuster, Mission Impossible, something like that. And I think that's what they, not in quality.
I'm a huge Mission Impossible.
That's why I mentioned it, because just so you'd understand what I'm getting at. Again, not in quality, but just in presentation, they're going for that template.
Yeah, I mean, they made $485 million, so something worked there.
I think the only reason they really made $485 million is because of the name Michael Bay, and people were thinking, "Oh,
that's probably got."
It didn't hurt. It didn't hurt.
It didn't hurt at all.
It probably did better overseas. I'm guessing, maybe.
Possible,
right?
That will also
possible.
have something to do with my negative points about both of these movies, so we'll get to it.
Yes,
Billy, give me something positive you liked about this movie.
I was trying to think of something positive the whole time both of y'all were talking, and I'm going to go with Will Arnett.
You got it. I'm about to say, I suppose
BoJack Horseman himself.
That's right. That's about the only
Let
positive
go,
thing.
Batman.
Only positive thing I can think of about my viewpoint on this.
And most
movie.
importantly, Job.
Job, I was going to say.
Yes.
What I liked about it, I'm going to piggyback off you. Will Arnett is solid. I love him in this. And no, I know William Fichtner has no business being Shredder, but he looks like he's having fun.
He's a good actor.
He is a good actor.
I enjoy him in it. I think the action is fun, which you mentioned. I think the action's a lot of fun in this. And I dig the layered and Eastman-esque animation at the beginning. I thought that was kind of a cool way to start the movie out. So,
I wish it would have stayed that way.
Yeah, I think that would have been great.
Yeah.
So, what did you not like about this movie, Mike?
Pretty much everything I haven't mentioned yet would fall in this category. My main, the point that I was going to jump to, and this just applies for both of them, so I'll say it now. This movie looks like Michael Bay's Transformers, and somebody shoved the Turtles in it. It looks like the G.I. Joe movies that were out around that time, and somebody shoved the Turtles into it. It just didn't feel like a Turtles movie to me, despite it having the Turtles in it, and characters, and story, and blah, blah, blah.
That's the Platinum Dunes of it all.
Probably. Yeah, and that's fine. They want to make their own 100%, their version of it, but, it made it feel cheapened. The fact that, I feel like I've already watched this movie, 5 times just with different characters already. And I think the designs were crap. I hated it when the toys came out before the movie dropped, because that's how everybody found out about the new designs.
Yeah.
And I want to say Mikey was the first one that everybody saw. With
that's the worst
Halloween
one.
costume.
That's the worst one.
The Halloween costume drop.
I forgot about that.
That was bad.
I was like, this must be a joke.
Right.
This has to be a joke.
I thought it was a joke.
He has like a shirt tied around his waist. I was like, this has got to be a joke.
Yeah.
There's no way they're doing this. They did it.
They did it.
They did it.
They did it. They committed.
And then just I don't know, the writing felt lazy. Megan Fox, and this isn't, and me, I'm sure she's a fine young woman. I do not know her personally, but, and while you don't have to have the most acting chops in the world to pull off April O'Neil, she's trash. That character, that version of April, I don't care for it. And also one of the major, and I try not to care about this kind of stuff, but one of the major fuck-ups with the lore and whatnot that they do in this movie hinges on April. And even I think it's in another, I can't remember which one it's in. Someone says their names are stupid. And she goes, "Hey, I named them."
Yeah.
And I had already forgotten that far into the movie. So I was just like, oh shit, you just reminded me. I forgot that. It just, I mean, everything about it, it's just, The character designs is what turned me off originally, but I tried to... And I remember not hating this the first time. I remember
enjoying it.
Yeah, and there are still...
I was actually really disappointed when I watched it again. I'm like, oh,
right.
I didn't like this.
And there are still parts of it that I liked, that I was happy that I still liked them. Like, at the end when they're all falling and Raph starts pouring his heart out.
That's good, yeah.
Yeah, that scene's great.
That's nice,
Yeah.
That's the only time I like the Turtles.
I was about to say, that's the only time I really like anybody.
Well, the elevator scene.
Oh, yeah, I forgot that's in it.
It's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun.
It was alright.
And Michelangelo always talking about finishing their hip-hop Christmas album.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just... Oh, and Splinter.
Tony Shalhoub.
Hate this Splinter. It's got nothing to do with Tony Shalhoub.
Nothing.
He looks like a fucking monster.
He does.
So I get that he's supposed to be a mutant, but like...
He looks horrible in the first one.
He looks really bad.
Right.
Second one is way better.
Oh yeah,
it's a little bit better, but it's still that. But in the second one, whatever. We'll get to that in the second one. I'll talk about that Splinter then. But you could kind of say the same one for the first one. Like he feels inconsequential in this movie, and I don't think that's some issue. Oh, and they just kind of made Leo a dick in these movies. He's not like the hard-nosed leader who has to make the hard decisions.
He's Johnny Knoxville in this one.
Yeah, which
he has to be a dick.
Didn't fucking help any.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's just it's another
guy that wrestled at WrestleMania. That's been
there
in
you
the
go.
movie.
But it's another time where they had the character Leo, and I get it. He's the Boy Scout, right? He's Captain America, like he's Superman. He's the one who like
right.
There's
not Chris Evans,
right? But that's mistreatment of the characters. There.
Billy, what did you not like about this version of the Turtles?
The main thing I didn't like about this version of the Turtles was the costumes. They were horrid.
Yeah, the new looks were not good.
They were not good
so
at all.
Terrible.
He really does. I mean,
I'm going to go ahead and tell you what I don't like about this. They learned they're fighting from a book.
I had that here.
Yeah.
So many crane shots and panning of camera was just like, dude, I am tired of this. Megan Fox, don't get me wrong, she rocks that yellow jacket. But her acting is so rough. Like, she just smiles all the time. Mikey's being creepy.
Megan Fox seemed to me like she was playing a different character from like another movie. Outside of trying to play April O'Neil.
My problem was she wasn't playing April O'Neil. She was playing Megan Fox with a journalist degree.
She was playing Reagan from New Girl.
Okay, yeah.
Which is just Megan Fox playing Megan Fox.
Megan Fox playing, yeah, exactly.
And I don't hate Megan Fox. It's just
no.
Like there's stuff going on in the movie, and she's just like, ha ha. Like at the end when Mikey's like singing to her, and she's just like, oh, he just blew up Will Arnett's new car, but that's cool. He's being cute. Yeah, she gets on my nerves in this one. The Turtles were April's childhood Turtles. What the hell? And, I would let that slide if she didn't find them many years later and was the only person to find them.
Super convenient.
That just... I would have rather them be aliens, man. The effects look more dated than the 1990 movie, which is troubling. Splinter looks like garbage.
Yeah, it does.
So bad. I'm not big on the redesigns. The Foot Clan looks weird as hell.
They look like they're out of that G.I. Joe movie.
Yeah.
They do. They really do.
The comedy is way more missed than hit. And honestly, a lot of the movie's kind of boring, and it's just not really fun. And the Turtles, I don't find them super likable. The ending where they're falling and whatnot, that makes Raphael a little bit likable. But other than that, I'm just like, why are we supposed to be rooting for these guys?
Yeah.
Jimmy, what did you not like about this version of Ninja Turtles?
You guys have said pretty much everything. I really cannot underline enough how terrible these designs are, and I'm not going to belabor it. But what were they thinking with this? It's nothing that I want to... Does anyone have a tattoo of any of these characters? Because I have a tattoo of what Leonardo looked like years ago, and it's adorable, and like it's going to last forever. Does anyone have Leo from this movie on them? No, there's no life in this. No. And that's the second one flopped because you didn't build up any love for this. The backstory here, some of these movies do this thing where they take out pieces of the lore, but then they still do fan service, and it feels broken. Shredder and Splinter fight, and who the fuck cares?
Yep.
There's no backstory between any of this. I mean, it's what they do wrong with these movies, where it's like, here's something you remember, but there's nothing there.
So, Jimmy, out of 5, what are we grading this movie on?
We're going with out of 5 hours being tempted and tortured by the 99 cheese pizza in Splinter's Hashi.
Oh God,
that looked good.
It did look good, but
how many hours being tortured by that pizza are you going to give out of 5, Mike?
Simply because I don't believe in doing 0 on any rating system because this is.
That's why I did 0.5 earlier.
Because this movie is a movie. It's not a block of wood. So like, they at least accomplished making a movie.
That's fair.
I give it a 0.5.
There we go, Billy.
I'm gonna give it a 1 because of Will Arnett.
I gave it a 1.5 basically because of Will Arnett. Jimmy, are you going to give it a 2 or are you going to give it lower?
I'm thinking ahead to the next one and want to give that one, so I got to make sure this is coincides.
That played into mine too.
This will be a half. I'm going to give it a half hour being tempted and tortured by the 9-inch cheese pizza and Splinter's high sheet.
There's huge news in the sewer. The mini mutants. It's Toko with a sneaky surprise. A mini technodrome with mini mutants all its own. In the turtle tenderizer chamber, Mini Shredder has painful plans for Raph. Up top, a mini Bebop's keeping an eye out. There's looking at ya. But Leo's got it totally covered. It's Leo's turtle playset with some big mini surprises of its own. Like a cool sewer scope and mini Leo and Mike. Whoa, there's even a place for you, Shredder.
Teenage Mutant Mini Mutants.
The sewer just got smaller.
So we're going to go from the first one to the sequel, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows. It was released June 3rd, 2016. I went and saw that with Jimmy at theaters. It's directed by Dave Green. The budget is $135 million.
Wow.
They made $245 million, which was not enough,
Yeah, it's not much.
considering they made a profit, but it wasn't as much as they wanted to. The cast is a lot of the same. April is Megan Fox. Vernon is played by Will Arnett. Casey Jones makes his debut. It's Stephen Amell plays him. We're going to talk about him.
Yeah,
Chief Vincent is played by Laura Linney. How the hell did they get Laura Linney? You were too good for this movie, man.
She must have been friends with somebody that worked on the movie.
Noel Fisher returns as Mikey. Jeremy Howard plays Donnie. Alan Richardson returns as Raph. Pete Plosick voices Leo. He actually voiced Leo originally before they casted Johnny Knoxville in the first one.
I think that's cool that they did that, actually.
Baxter Stockman comes in. He's played by Tyler frickin' Perry. Medea. Shredder got recasted. Now he's played by Brian T. Rocksteady is played by Seamus. Somebody that me and Mike are
the first
very
wrestler
well
to play Rocksteady.
This is not a banger if you ask me. Gary Anthony William plays Bebop. Splinter is played by Monk yet again, Tony Shalhoub. Krang is voiced by the Brad Garrett. And Karai got recasted with Brittany Ishibashi. So the synopsis from IMDb is the Turtles get into another battle with their enemy, the Shredder, who has acquired new allies, the mutant thugs Bebop and Rocksteady, and the alien being known as Krang. Real quick, let's get some fun facts out of the way. Brad Garrett and Pat Fraley, the original Krang, are best friends in real life.
Amazing.
So that's one cool thing about Brad Garrett playing this part.
Bang, 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 click, click, reload, bang, 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 bang.
There's a deleted scene online where Megan Fox meets Judith Hogue, who's her boss in the movie.
Nice.
She even says we are practically the same person at one point.
Why would they delete that?
Because honestly, in my opinion, I feel like it's a horribly acted scene.
The whole movie's horribly acted.
I know.
It really is.
I feel like Judith Hogue was not great in that scene. Also, like they never go back to any of that stuff.
Maybe she wasn't trying to be great in that scene because she wasn't playing fucking April O'Neil. Her main.
Oh, I'm willing to bet it was probably the biggest payday she had gotten in many moons. She was probably acting her ass off.
The producers tried to get a cameo for Elias Koteas, the original Casey Jones, but he turned it down because he had better things to do.
No. I saw the first one. I'm just going to go back to my shift at Target.
Yeah, exactly.
Was that a quote from him? I had better things to do.
No, but I'm just willing to guess. Brad Garrett was not originally casted for Krang. It was actually Fred Armisen who was casted as Krang, but he ended up, I think, shooting schedule changed, and it got to where it was a conflict.
I want to hear his voice now.
I think that could have been interesting.
I would like to hear Fred Armisen do that.
He only has 2 scenes. What could he work with?
I thought he was in it more. Yeah. CM Punk auditioned to be Rocksteady at one point.
Interesting.
That's not the role for him in this movie.
Johnny Knoxville claims he was not asked to come back to play Leo.
I wonder why.
You can see a Triceraton and a Neutrino when
I was going to mention that
Krang
earlier.
places Shredder in the lower level of the Technodrome, frozen. The original title for this was TMNT, Half Shell. And originally there was set to be a third movie since Megan Fox and the Turtles were mostly signed to do 3 movies. Tyler Perry claims that the idea for the sequel was for him to return as the Fly.
It makes sense where his character
Yeah, because he got away at the end too, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
Let's talk about what we liked about this movie. Billy, start us out. What did you like about Out of the Shadows?
I liked that it was better than the last one.
That is true.
And low bar.
Yeah, very low bar. There wasn't much. I like that Krang was in this because I've always been a big fan of Krang. I'm sad that he didn't have more screen time. Yeah. I guess I like that they kept somewhat the same cast.
Jimmy, what did you like about Out of the Shadows?
There are things in there that I remember when I was young, so I do remember, not that it's done well, but I do remember the first Super Bowl commercial where they showed Krang. I was at a Super Bowl thing and just being quiet and weird, and that came on. And I was like, "Holy shit, it's Krang!" and I was like trying to be cool, like I don't want to see that, but that came out. Because I wanted to see Krang in a movie.
I honestly think that's why we went to the theaters for it.
We did.
It's like, Krang, Bebop, and Rocksteady.
And that's another thing I really wanted to see. And I think Bebop and Rocksteady are pretty fun in this. They're real bros, and they like each other, and they're cool. I like the guys that do it. Yeah, I think they're really fun. And I think the movie looks. I think it's kind of well shot. There are
I think this movie looks way better.
The sequence is the beginning where they have the turtle wagon or whatever, and it's like shooting manhole covers, which is what the toy would do, shit like that.
Right.
What do you like, Mike?
The only thing that I can say in this movie that I actually really outright liked, like it's not me trying to reach for something to just to have something to say. Bebop and Rocksteady are the absolute MVPs of this movie, in my opinion. Okay. They're the only part of the movie that I actually like. I light up when they come on the screen because those dudes, like Jimmy was saying, they ended up actually having really good chemistry together, and the constant my man. Yeah, I like that. You actually felt the bond between them, which is something that I would argue no other 2 characters have in either of these movies.
No.
I liked that there was a lot more color in this movie, where the other one was kind of like this monotone,
almost brown,
kind of like Michael Bay colors, essentially. Mm-hmm. This one, there's a lot of color. There's actual fun. There's actual laughs in this movie. I like that Leonardo doesn't sound like Johnny Knoxville because that distracted me a lot of the time.
It is distracting when it's that recognizable of a voice.
And it just didn't fit. It was recognizable and didn't fit.
Right.
I still love Vern. I think he's great in this. And I love that you can tell that this time around that the director is actually a big fan of the Turtle franchise because there's so much nerd shit in this one. Yeah. Whereas the last one was like, let's make a movie that can make money.
Yeah, they put a Triceraton in the background.
And this time it was like, let's make a movie that can make the fans happy. That liked the cartoon, that liked the comics. Let's do something for a little bit of everybody. So I like what this movie set out to do. And Bebop and Rocksteady are very, very entertaining. Billy, what did you not like about Out of the Shadows?
I didn't like that Krang wasn't in anymore. I didn't like that I didn't get to see more Triceraton.
That would have been cool.
That would have been really cool.
Because they seem like they would look cool.
They
with
would.
The way they,
with the way.
They were made for something.
Especially with the way that they did Bebop and Rocksteady in this, like you were saying. Yeah.
Jimmy, what did you not like about Out of the Shadows?
Well, I hate that scene where April changes clothes.
That is so weird.
The opening.
I know what they.
Where she's like ogling Tyler Perry, and then
where she's like an Angelina Jolie character more than she is April.
And then she switches clothes, and all of a sudden it's like a sorority girl.
It's another Megan Fox playing Megan Fox thing.
Yeah,
it's like, April, you're a well-known reporter, and you're just swiping. This is shoplifting. But I just think it's a dumb scene, but that's just in there so you can have that shot of her tying her shirt together in the trailer because she looks like she's wearing a schoolgirl outfit.
As her pants magically disappeared in that scene, she never took them off.
It's only there for the trailer.
Now, if Winona Ryder was playing that part, then that would have been perfect.
What?
Because of the stealing clothes thing.
Oh yeah, because she's we're really that's a pull. That's a real pull.
I kind of forgot she got in trouble for that.
You see, kids, the mom on Stranger Things.
She used to be a klepto.
She used to steal shit.
But we love her now.
We do.
Yes.
And she didn't steal from any of us. So
no, not at all.
All she stole is Hopper's heart.
Really, the thing I'm holding against this movie is that they waited till this one to do some of these things.
Yeah.
It
did feel a little too late.
And you're trying to win me back now, are you? And I went and saw it. And those things were fine because I wanted to see them as a kid. But then I never watched. I wouldn't have watched it again unless we watched it for this.
Now, did you go and see this because of Krang or Megan Fox?
I went and saw this because they were selling Ecto Cooler.
We were drinking Ecto Cooler.
Yes, so we could have been watching anything. I didn't care.
I didn't give a shit.
I just wanted to go in there and get Ecto Cooler and watch a movie with him. So really, that's why, you know.
Things that I didn't like in particular, Krang just kind of comes out of nowhere, and Shredder just accepts it and just like, okay, I'll go with your plan. Krang's also way too big for my liking. I'm going to just say this now because I know Mike's probably going to elaborate on it. Casey Jones sucks. What is his motivation? Why does he have to be a freaking cop? Which, being a vigilante cop is a little problematic.
Seeing how many of my points you're going to...
He's basically playing Arrow as Casey Jones, but I'll let you go back into it a little bit more.
No, it's all obvious. That's what I'm counting off. Like,
right.
Yep.
And the other thing I have a big problem with is there's this plot point where the Turtles found out they can become human, but they were never human to begin with. So how are they going to become human? Even though they were born turtles, and my head just exploded. Mike, you're up. What did you not like about Out of the Shadows?
Just adding on to what you brought up, the story is so... Can I say the F word now?
We've said it already.
Okay, yeah.
We're like
it's so
4 hours into this.
fucking stupid. Like, it makes... One, it's a perfect... Like, the story could have been so interesting and I don't remember how Splinter's lore works in these movies, if he is Hamato Yoshi or if he's a pet.
He's not.
He's not.
Okay, because if he was Hamato Yoshi, then like we could, we'll get this to turn our father back to that, at least something.
Oh, that would have been good.
That
would have been good.
But God forbid we do that with this movie.
Yeah.
So the Turtles literally sound fucking stupid, especially Raph when he says like, "No, we have to take it." Like, y'all were never human. What are you going to turn into? Why do you want to be that little small turtle again? And
that's why I had you go last, by the way.
I hate the title of this movie because to me it promised something that I brought up earlier, which was Out of the Shadows. To me sounds like, we're not hiding in the fucking shadows anymore, and all you get is like the cops saw them, and then the cops kept their secret really good, but then Laura Linney told them that they should go out and be around people, and they're like,
not yet.
And they're like, that thing we wanted this whole movie? Nah, we don't want it anymore.
Fam.
Because a thing happened. Krang is way too fucking big, and I don't just mean the body, like the whole bit
it's too much
of it can't fit back in the body was fucking not funny and took up way too much screen time in my opinion. But yeah, and then Casey Jones, oh my god, they just and I try really hard to not be a source material guy. I try really hard to just I want to treat everything as a self-contained version. No, I don't like this version of Casey Jones because I've already seen this character on Arrow. I've seen this character on SummerSlam, bringing back wrestling.
Yeah.
It's just Stephen Amell, and again, I'm not trying to rag on the guy, but he gets hired to be Stephen Amell, and that seems to be it. Like, they didn't even go through the trouble of giving him long hair, just something to make him not look like Oliver Queen or Stephen Amell. Yeah. And I mean, the whole him being a cop is
weird.
Far cry from the original character.
Forgot all about that.
Right.
Yeah.
It also it gives us that awesome scene in the beginning where he's in the truck and saying just all the most stereotypical shitty bland dialogue that they could have possibly. Why are the shells in the back? Why did you have a shotgun with no? It's fucking trash. No, because I'll be honest with you, this movie and the previous one, I had a lot of trouble paying attention through the whole movie because I just did not give a shit about anything in the story for either one of these films.
Yeah. I just recently rewatched this film.
Oh, today was literally the first time I've seen this movie.
Yeah.
Was today.
The very first
time ever?
Wow.
Yeah. I'd never, a little bit that played in the background when we were recording previous. That's the most I've seen of it.
Last week was the second time I saw it, and I thought I remembered really liking it, but I was like, whoa, this is not what I remembered. Yeah. Jimmy, what is the grading criteria on Out of the Shadows?
Technodrome, surprisingly not underground, but hovering in the sky for some reason, probably because Avengers.
How many Technodromes are you giving this movie, Mike?
I give this movie one slowly pieced together Technodrome.
I'm agreeing with Mike, only one.
Billy, not you're Billy. Jimmy, how many Technodromes do you give in it?
I'm giving it 2 because of the Ecto Cooler. I remember that Ecto Cooler. So I have a picture of you and I sitting in the theater, and it was a really great time. I think it's slightly better than the last one, which I gave a star and a half, or whatever it is and a half. But they're really about on par, really. I mean, there are things in this one that I remember, from Krang and Bebop and Rocksteady, but really they're kind of the same to me.
Mhm.
So I'm going to give it 2.
I'm giving it a 2.5. I just think I think there's actually stuff to like in this one as opposed to the last
I do
movie.
think so, yeah.
It still sucks, but there's Bebop and Rocksteady.
It's got Bebop and Rocksteady who are really like it.
There's a lot of nerd stuff in there. It's like they tried with this one, where the first one I didn't feel like they tried.
I wonder how much of the stuff that we don't like with this one was like producer notes.
Yeah.
Because I can't tell you how many podcasts I've listened to or documentaries I've watched where, like, movies that I definitively I know I hate, and then I hear the story about why it turned out the way it did. I was like, oh, well, now
That's
I feel
why.
bad that I didn't get to see
Yeah.
the original version of, like, Nightmare on Elm Street 5, or, like, just picking
Right.
some random movie that I don't like.
Itchy fingers, gotta go. Hit the button, play the video. Real handful, 6 around. Eye those graphics, hear that sound. Hornby's hot now, hotter than ever. New talking turtle.
Cowabunga! Yeah!
Got you zapped, what a sharp this boy's hot. Handheld video games and new talking turtles from Hornby. Hot or what?
All right, we're finally here. We're going to talk about the new Turtle movie, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Mutant Mayhem, which was released August 2nd, 2023, directed by Jeff Rowe, of course produced by Seth Rogen. The budget was $70 million. To date, it has made $118 million. I don't know how much it's made this weekend just yet. Billy has not seen this movie yet.
I haven't. I did not get a chance to see this movie yet.
The cast for this movie: Michelangelo is played by newcomer Shaman Brown Jr., Leonardo is played by Nicholas Cantu, Donatello played by Micah Abbey, Raphael played by Brady Noon, April O'Neil is played by, I'm going to let Jimmy say this name because he says it way better than I can say it.
Is this the woman that plays April?
Yeah.
I can't. I have to see it. Iobi or something like that?
Edeberry?
Edeberry. Yeah, it's something like that.
Yeah, she's from The Bear. She's great in The Bear.
Yes.
Splinter is voiced by Jackie Chan. Cynthia Utrom is voiced by Maya Rudolph. Genghis Frog is voiced by Hannibal Buress. Baxter Stockman finally gets played by Giancarlo Esposito, but he doesn't really do much. Superfly is voiced by Ice Cube. Rocksteady is voiced by John Cena, another wrestler for us. Bebop is voiced by the producer himself, Seth Rogen. Leatherhead, for some reason, is voiced by Rose Byrne. Wingnut is voiced by Natasha Demetrio. Ray Fillet is voiced by Mr. Post Malone. And finally, Mondo Gecko, the most perfect casting ever. Paul Rudd as Mondo Gecko. The synopsis: the Turtle Brothers work to earn the love of the New York City while facing down an army of mutants. We're going to do some fun facts real quick.
Okay.
This is the most critically acclaimed Turtle movie to date. It has a 96% rating on Rotten Tomato. Shredder was originally the villain for this, but he was moved to potentially be in the sequel so he could be focused on more without sharing the spotlight with the new Turtles, because you have to kind of establish them. The director said, think about the Joker in the Dark Knight movie. You did Batman Begins to set up the Batman's world, and then you bring Joker to tear it down the next movie.
Right.
That's kind of what he wants to do with Shredder. Jeff Rowe opted to make Superfly the villain instead because he wanted the antagonist to also be a mutant that shared empathy with the Turtles and could easily tempt and corrupt them through some of his machinations, because, as you know, he's the bad guy. This movie was recorded, the cast of this movie was recorded in groups so actors could work off of each other, kind of like the 1987 cartoon.
Right.
Jeff Rowe also wrote Jackie Chan a letter asking him to be Splinter, like he just hand wrote a letter, and Jackie Chan really liked that about him. Superfly was supposed to be a mutated Baxter Stockman at one point. Do you think they should have done that?
Yes.
I thought that's why they casted Ice Cubes, because he was so different from Esposito.
I just made a note of that because I think that's weird.
And I think they should have done
weird.
that.
Yeah.
Once again, Stockman is just kind of thrown away. He's only in the first 5
It's
minutes.
confusing to
And
us.
He barely talks.
Wow.
As a fan, I'm confused. I'm like, well, wait a minute. And I'm thinking about it while I'm watching. I'm like, well, he should be a flop, but he's not.
He's
he
his
made
own
this
kind of original character.
and I'm thinking about it, and I shouldn't be thinking about it. I should just be enjoying the film, but
Right.
it's just it gets stuck in my crawl. So that makes sense to me. Did you fart?
Yes.
Okay, that makes sense to me that it was a thing. So,
Excuse me.
was that the chair or the fart?
Sure.
Okay, good.
I personally, I like it. Just
We'll
throw
get there.
that out there.
We'll get there. The voices of the Turtles are actual teenagers this time around, for the first time ever. And Seth Rogen wanted the soundtrack to be a big part of the movie and cited the Tony Hawk video game soundtrack as an inspiration. What did you all think of the soundtrack?
Amazing. I love the soundtrack.
Me too. Me too.
I like the score. The Trent Reznor and as Atticus Ross.
Yeah,
Is his name?
Atticus Ross is his partner.
Yeah, I think it's pretty good getting them to do that, and I like the some of the needle drops in it. I think they're pretty good.
I mean, when Can I Kick It kicks on right as the movie ends,
Yeah.
like to go into the final credits is perfect. And that scene,
Mhm.
when they play Annie Up, going into like the beginning of the third act as they're all basically like surfing across the Harvard. I
Great.
love that scene. That song works perfect. And Mondo Gecko looks so fucking cool in that scene too.
All right, Mike, what did you like about Mutant Mayhem?
I like a lot of, honestly, as easy as it is to fall into the trap of not liking the stuff that's different, I always look at the approach like, okay, it's different, it's not what I've always loved about the story, but do I like what's different? Like, do I like what they've given me? Again, the whole treat itself contained. And I actually really like this movie. It's as early as we've ever been with the Turtles in like a consistent timeline. Like, sure, we've seen them, the Turtle Tots and whatnot. They even get into that in this movie. But I like seeing them trying to figure out who they all are. Like, there's this really good moment near the end where Leo, when the rest of them want to quit, Leo's the one that brings them up. And there is no, like, as the movie starts, there is no distinction. Leo's the leader. There is no, like, they don't know who they are yet. They just have, like, their personality traits. And after Leo kind of riles everybody,
He steps up.
yeah, and Raph even, like, walks up to him. He's like, for the first time, like, you didn't sound lame. Like, you kind of sounded like a leader.
Yeah.
And then Leo, like, spazzes out about them saying that. It's like, and you ruined it.
Yeah, yeah.
I like the April O'Neil. I think she's still, like, she's not the damsel in distress, and I like that, because April O'Neil doesn't need to be a damsel in distress. Like, she gets to stand on her own. She gets to work for Channel 6 News by the end of the movie, which I think is super fucking cool.
I thought so.
I like the only thing I don't like about this April is that her hair looks like Flamin' Hot Cheetos. Couldn't stop thinking about that while I was watching the movie.
I like that part of it,
yesterday.
actually. I like that.
No, again, she's not the April that we know and love, but I still like this character. And she has a lot of the same motivations that the Turtles have, so it makes sense when she kind of teams up with them.
Yeah. Okay, I got that. Jimmy, what did you like about Mutant Mayhem?
I do think that this is the best Leo has ever been. He is, for me, the most relatable of the Turtles, in that they give him the story as far as April's concerned. And overall, he just seems like I related to him, and that's never really happened to me before. Also, if you have an alcoholic beverage, take a shot whenever I say this wasn't made for me, because I'll probably end up saying that a lot as we go through, because this wasn't made for me. But I do like the sketchy look of this. It harkens back to not just the comics, but of the kind of low budget roughness of the '90s film. Like, it feels right for Ninja Turtles. Shouldn't be beautiful, and it should be kind of rough, and like there's squibbles and stuff, like a teenager drew it. And I like that a lot. I love that kids will see this and love it, and it will continue this brand for years. I'm a Turtle guy, but I'm also a He-Man guy, and that's going to die with me.
Mm-hmm.
Kids aren't going to get into that because they can't figure out how to do it.
No.
But Turtles, they change, and they make it so kids will love it forever. It's never going to go away because they keep figuring out a way to reinvent it. That's the best thing about this movie for me. I love that the mutants that are in it, you can tell what action figures the writers had. Like, obviously they had McMahon, or they had the ones that are in it, they're the ones that they had, and they're like, let's put mine over. This is me doing Seth Rogen when he's high, because they were high when they wrote this. It's like you can tell which ones that they liked. They're like, we got to put him in it because we had it when I was 8. And I like that about it.
Things that I like about Mutant Mayhem, the entire cast is stacked. It's just, everyone is fantastic, I think. The soundtrack is by far the best of all the movies. Seeing Mondo Gecko, Ray Fillet, and more of those like random Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle characters in the movie is just fucking rad. Jackie Chan as Splinter is just awesome, I think. Paul Rudd as Mondo is just perfect. I like that they go into the mutant fear thing, kind of reminiscent of X-Men.
Yeah.
there. The montage of the turtles taking care of crime business at the end of the first act or beginning second act is one of the best turtle scenes
Set
I've
to
ever
no
seen.
diggity.
Yeah, and it's perfect.
For like a kids movie, it almost feels like they're equivalent to like the Daredevil hallway scene
Yeah,
because it's so perfectly shot, but it's a lot of fun because
yeah,
it's a kids movie.
it's so good.
Yeah.
Superfly works to the villain. I like his motivations and all that. I like Ice Cube. Splinter's pizza party with the celeb cardboard cutouts was fucking hilarious.
All the Chris's.
All the Chris's show up. Chris Pine, Chris Evans. Billy's like, what are you talking
I
about?
have the best eyebrows.
This is over my head now already.
It's really, really funny. The action is fantastic. The turtles go into high school at the end. I know there's supposed to be a TV show possibly,
Yeah.
and of course possibly a sequel. So
I think they've already
going
announced
forward,
both of them. Yeah.
They haven't announced a movie sequel yet.
Oh,
They have announced the cartoon.
Okay.
But I still think going forward, like, it's a different take, so I'm interested to see where that goes.
And you get that awesome scene at the end where Mikey's mask falls down the manhole cover,
Yeah.
which I think is beautiful the way they do that.
And of course, the Shredder teaser on the post credit. We're getting Shredder next time, although he sounds like a mercenary.
But it does
we'll
already
see.
establish the relationship between Shredder and Krang.
Yeah, that is true.
That is interesting.
So, Mike, what did you not like about Mutant Mayhem?
I don't like that they get away from the original lore. Again, I like what they gave us. I still would have rather had the original lore.
Yeah.
And I would have liked to seen a few more mutants get a little bit more screen time.
Yeah.
Like as much as like it is really cool seeing all of them on screen, and it is the most like Ninja Turtle mutants that have ever been in a movie. They're all kind of treated as one. Like you don't really get too many one. Like Mondo Gecko
gets
his moments, but like. Ray Fillet is just there to sing the name Ray Fillet over and over again, but he only really does it when he's around Mondo and all the rest of them. And then, like, Scumbug, which, to get to the splinter of that, I don't know if this necessarily explains it, but in the beginning of the movie, when he's talking about his backstory and whatnot, the only friend he had before he mutated was a cockroach.
Oh, there you go.
So, because what happens is somebody steps on the cockroach and kills him, and then he goes, and then I ate him.
Then he ate him, yeah.
So he's already had cockroach in his mouth before we even get to the disgusting kissing scene at the end.
Billy, Splinter, and Scumbug make out with tongues.
Yeah.
It's weird.
It's pretty intense, if I'm being honest.
Don't know.
Why does that occur?
For kids.
I will say this. So a scene that I didn't like, that I know you didn't like, that we talked about as it was going, when they're just doing their teenagery stuff,
and then bacon, egg, and cheese, or something like that. So they start kind of like bacon, egg, and cheese, and keep kind of going like that.
They were supposed to be acting like they were like cool guys, I guess, from New York,
and it showed that they were like not cool.
And that was kind of the point, but it goes way too long. But I will say this. My 9-year-old son laughed his fucking ass off while that was going on. So again, it's not made for us.
Right, yes. I'm sure your 9-year-old son understood half the
he loved the entire
half the dialogue they were saying, like up-to-date words that.
Oh yeah, he got all the references.
From what I got in the trailer, I had no idea what they were even saying. Yeah. Like Riz? What the hell is Riz?
Although they do say mollywop in that movie, which I do love that.
When we were seeing it, I literally said out loud, "What the fuck is going on?"
Yeah, he did.
And he was like, "Well, they're being teenagers." I was like, "I don't like this."
Yeah.
But that is I would have liked to have Shredder be more in the movie, but I understand they're setting it up and whatnot. Again, my only real gripe is that I didn't get more Bebop and Rocksteady, and I didn't get more of the other mutants and whatnot.
The thing that I didn't like is I want Jimmy to say his last. I feel like he's going to have a passionate response. Not having the whole Hamato Yoshi backstory is very missed. Splinter's just a rat. He has nothing to do with Hamato Yoshi at all. And that, like, every iteration of Turtles that I've looked at the last several months has different lore. The comics lore is different from the cartoon lore, different from the 90s movie lore, different from the 2014 lore. I don't mind them changing the lore.
Right.
I'm saying lore way too much.
Say lore again.
But there's like no lore in here. And it's just like why should we care about Shredder coming in if you don't have the Hamato Yoshi or Rokusaki of it all? Another thing I hated, we already kind of touched on this, there's probably too much teen humor I just didn't get. There's a whole like montage of April O'Neil throwing up on TV, and
It goes
Make
a
it-
little
they
long,
turn it
yeah.
into a TikTok.
What?
And she's thrown up in. They give her a filter where
Why
where
does
she's
she?
throwing up rainbows.
Why does she throw up on TV?
She tries
Because
to
she
go
got
on.
she
She tries to go on school news, and she gets all nervous, and she starts throwing up, and they make a whole minute-long scene about it. And she's explaining because they see the words "Puke Girl" written on her locker, and they don't know it's hers.
How old is this April
high school.
portrayed
It's
as?
about 15 or
High
so.
school.
And how old are the turtles?
About
Which
15
is
or so.
which is
So they're the same age?
Yeah.
That's weird.
well, that's like that. Like two of
2012.
the cartoons.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's still weird
Yeah.
to me.
And we've talked about that a lot.
I actually think the scene at
We have.
Eastman High, by the way, if we didn't
Yeah.
catch
Oh,
that
nice.
reference. Yeah.
Very nice.
There's also a place called the Layered.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
nice.
but also, I mean, the whole throwing up thing is foreshadowing later when she somehow gets on Channel 6 News, and then they want to hire her, which I don't like, because she's a fucking 15-year-old.
And she does throw up on Channel 6, too.
Yeah.
She chokes it back, and then in the middle of it, looking like she's
Mhm.
doing a good job, it just... Bleh.
Yeah.
And she still
but-
gets the job.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I hated all kind of the humor. That's once again not for me. I get it, but I just didn't think that stuff was funny. Total waste of Giancarlo Esposito, because I think I've said his name 5 different times during
He
this
is one of the
podcast,
best actors alive.
and he is the perfect Baxter Stockman dream casting. But he had I think 2 or 3 lines in the first 5 minutes, and then he's like, I don't know if he's dead or gone or what.
It's dead, but there's no body.
Yeah.
So they could bring him back if they wanted.
At the end, this is a big spoiler, Billy.
That's
All those villains, except for Superfly, turn face. They become good guys. They all become I think they all go to live with the turtles.
Huh.
Which
For the most part.
I'm
They say
okay
that.
with, Ray Fillet and Mondo Gecko and
Right.
Scumbug doing that.
Yeah.
I don't like that Bebop and Rocksteady
No.
are good
I
guys.
think that'll probably
I'm
come with
hoping
the
that
next,
changes.
That
with the
might,
story
that
goes.
might, yeah.
Who knows? But that and Leatherhead also. I thought Leatherhead I could kind of buy, but also
That
didn't-
Leatherhead had an interesting design because the eyes were
Mhm.
Goggles,
yeah,
And I also,
Goggles.
why was Rose Byrne Leatherhead?
because she's a friend of theirs.
and
It's just
Australian.
there's other girl characters that she could play.
Yeah,
Um,
that's weird.
That's a mutant.
They could make something up.
I mean, unless you're gonna
They
put
could-
Tim Pestra or some shit.
Yeah.
There.
The animation for me is a little disorienting at times. It's not as smooth as Across the Spider-Verse, which you were saying earlier. It makes sense because the original comic was not the smoothest.
That also may have something to do with the work schedule that they were trying to keep.
They
with their
said they had
animators.
no. That was
No, it's my point.
no.
Is that they didn't
Yeah.
they were trying to not do what happened on Across the Spider-Verse.
I think also the artistic choice was chosen by them. They
Yeah.
wanted it to look that way, which sometimes, especially when they had the human characters, was a little disorienting.
Some of the face designs, on the people in New
Utrom, I
York.
thought it had a horrible
Yeah.
face.
But she might supposed to be a robot. That's how I felt the whole time. Anyway,
It worked for the mutants, but not all the
Yeah.
actual human characters. Did we really need a rat making out with a bug woman, and all?
we haven't even gotten to the kaiju of it all yet.
I don't really mention that. I just it's
I was gonna say,
fine.
I liked
It's
it.
fine.
But there was a thing Billy doesn't know.
It's
But,
third act
it's
stuff,
third act
and
stuff.
it works. It's fine.
So
And
Scumbug's
it's also
the
a
woman?
PG. Not.
Yes,
and,
I think so.
And also, this is a PG-rated movie, so how can we get away with all the tonguing? I don't. Thought that was a little
I mean, you
weird.
don't see the tongue moving
Splinter and
around.
stuff.
They just
okay.
their mouths open and they.
What
go
about
at
all
each
the
other.
milking?
And
I thought that joke was
An awful
funny.
lot of
That was-
milking
that
in
was-
the movie.
That was fine.
It was fine, but it was a little weird.
But and also I like pop culture references in in the Turtle movies, but I thought they relied on them a little too heavily. But there was just a lot of stuff that felt dated for 2023 already. I'm this
It is
feeling
weird
more
how
dated 20 years from now.
It is weird how it's
hate
either
that's pop
super current references or super dated.
Yeah,
references.
that's what I hate.
the four dumb blonde scene. What was that all about?
Yeah, what was that? That was strange.
I still think that scene's funny though.
It's funny, but then why did they go to the YouTube version of Four Non-Blondes all of a sudden? It was just
No,
stupid.
I
There was a lot. I really did like this movie, but there was a lot of things that left me scratching my head.
I like that they basically eject all the mutants from the car as that song's on, and Mondo Gecko turns around and in slow motion says, "What's going on?" to finish the melody. I thought that was a nice little touch.
Jimmy, what did you not like about Mutant Mayhem?
Well, first of all, this movie's not for me. If a movie,
Take a drink.
And, but if a mom came up to me on the street and knew I was into nerdy stuff and she was like, should I take my kid this? I say, yes, your kid will love this. And I think in general, this is a fine film. And I've told people that, but this is a Turtle podcast, so I'm going to just say what is on my 45-year-old mind. Shredder at the end is meaningless because they learn ninja from watching movies and there's no backstory. They may come up with something in the next movie, like maybe Shredder had something to do with the ooze, but they won't because they'd have to really think about it, and that's not going to happen. There's a scene where Donnie doesn't even know what his bow is. Like, it's a funny scene where they go in a garage and about to fight, and he's like, I have a stick, what is this? You've been practicing to do this for 15 years, and you don't know what your bow is? It's a funny line, but something has to matter in these movies. And I know Seth Rogen and his friend and his buddy wrote this when they were high, so I know, and it's fine, it's fine, like, it's funny, but there's got to be more than that. I did write this. I feel like the backstory was gutted with an ice cream scoop because the writers were too high or lazy to come up with absolutely anything. All drama and weight is gone for the sake of fun, and they're probably right because kids nowadays don't want to hear about what happened 50 years ago in Japan. They don't want that. They just want, here's a fun story, and that's fine for this movie because it's not made for me. Here goes my cuckoo.
There's a lot of time we'll hear it though.
Oh yeah.
So to me, this movie is like, I wrote this, I think I put this in my Instagram little thing I wrote. It's like, this movie is like a bowl of cereal, and someone has gone through and picked out all the cereal meat. And by cereal meat, I mean everything that's not a marshmallow. And
Cereal meat.
it's literally just a bowl of marshmallows. Like, it's just a bowl of fluff. No one will agree with this, but it's what I think. This is like Batman, but like, let's not do the dead parent thing. Because fun. It's just all gone. And it doesn't really work for me, but this movie's not made for me, so that's fine. But what I think is really weird about the movie, and when I was a kid, I had sat in school, and I hated school. And I think, what are the Ninja Turtles doing? I bet because they practice, they have to do that, but they also eat pizza, they watch TV, and at night, Raphael is like, I'm going to go to a movie, and he goes out and watches Critters. But I'm in school the whole time, and that sucks, but the Turtles do cool things because they're teenagers. But at the end of this movie, the Turtles are in fucking school. And I don't understand that. It's not fun to me. It's not relatable. But I know that's relatable to kids who watch that now. But it's not relatable. I would be like, at 10, I'd be like, but I don't want to go to school. It works as a story because there's that scene where April takes them to school, and I'm like, they're going to end up in school. That's what's going to happen. And that's fine. It's written that way. But the kid in me doesn't understand that, and it kind of breaks the property in a way. It's what I think. No one else should think that. You should just enjoy the movie. April's the same age as the Turtles, which I've gotten used to, but I still think it's better when she's a grown woman.
I agree.
So there's like a dynamic there, and that's kind of weird. I like Superfly. I like Ice Cube. I wish his name wasn't Superfly. I wish like Michelangelo gave him the name Superfly. Also, and this is probably the last thing, that there's a lot of dad humor with Splinter. And like Splinter is their father, but he's not their dad. And again, I don't know if that makes sense, what I just said. It makes sense to me. Like, he is their father and their mentor.
Yeah.
But it's
He's
not
their
like
father figure.
It's like, oh, dad. But again, this movie is not made for me.
So, Jimmy, what is the grade scale we're going with out of 5 for Mutant Mayhem?
We are going with, out of 5, cardboard cutouts of various actors named Chris. Hot take, but Chris Pratt is the best. Come at me, Internet.
Mike, how many cardboard cutouts are you going to give this out of 5?
I'm going to give it 4. I've watched it twice, which is more than enough opportunities.
Oh yeah, you saw it.
Not like it, and I still enjoy it.
I gave it a 4 as well. Jimmy?
I know I just said a bunch of things about it, but I know that this movie is good. Like, I know it's a well-made film and that it works. So I'm not going to grade it as I would grade, as the 10-year-old me would grade it. I'm going to grade it what I think it is, and I think it's pretty good. I'd give it 3.5.
And Mike, you actually took your son to it yesterday.
I did.
I hear you have a recording of what he thought of the movie. Let's play that right now, why don't we?
All right, why don't we?
Thanks, guys. Here with the boy. Now, we went and saw Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem recently. Mm-hmm. Did you like the movie?
Yes.
All right. Now, who was your favorite character in the movie?
Michelangelo.
All right. And one last question. What was your favorite part?
Them beating a super duper fly.
So the end of the movie?
Yeah.
All right. Good answer. Well, you heard it from him, guys. Take it.
Oh, he liked it.
Isn't he adorable?
He is adorable. He is your son, after all.
He seemed to really enjoy it.
It was weird. We just all went along with it.
So I'm going to ask a couple of quick questions. No explanation. Just give me the answers. We've been here like all day.
Oh, yeah.
It's
It's
been
been a
longer than
while.
I thought it would be.
So you're just going to tell me which movie of the 7 that for each question. Which movie had the best look, in your opinion, when it came to the Turtles? Billy?
The original.
Jimmy?
The original.
Mike?
Original.
That's a sweep. I also picked the original. Best Turtle voiceover cast. Billy?
Original.
Jimmy?
Of the movies, the original.
Mike?
Yeah, original.
I picked the original, too. I swear I've got answers that don't involve the original.
We'll see
Favorite
about that.
April O'Neil. Billy?
Original, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's original.
Secret of the Ooze.
Paige Turco, okay.
Really?
Like I said earlier, that is my April.
She was my favorite when I was a kid.
Yeah.
She was my favorite as a kid, too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm going to pick Judith Hogue as well from the original.
Yep.
Favorite Casey Jones. That's original, everybody?
Original.
Part 3.
I like him in part 3, but
I
they don't,
was
they
gonna
don't
say
do
that
anything with him. They don't do
yesterday.
anything with
Yeah.
He
him.
plays two characters.
He does.
Right.
Yeah.
Favorite Shredder. There's been a bunch of those.
There have been a few shredders. Secret of the Ooze, Super Shredder.
It's still the original.
Yeah.
Original.
I'm going to go Secret of the Ooze as well. Favorite Splinter. Original.
Original.
They're puppets to
yeah.
die for.
Favorite movie.
Original.
Original, extra
Original.
crispy. Yes.
Worst movie.
Oh,
Start with Billy.
probably the Michael Bay first one.
All right. Jimmy.
Agreed.
2014. Yeah.
I'm going with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, guys. That was hard to watch.
Yeah.
Which movie had the best humor, do you think? Billy.
Best humor.
I try to get not just the original.
Right.
But even
I'm going with the original still.
All right. Jimmy?
I'm going to say original. If I thought about it, it might be different, but I'm going to go with original.
Mike?
No, I think it might be Mutant Mayhem, actually.
I was about to say,
I'm picking Mutant Mayhem.
I think
I'm
it's funny.
torn between Mutant Mayhem and Secret of the Ooze. For as much as those jokes are shitty and cringy, I like the shit cringe jokes of it, but I'll say Secret of the Ooze just to give it another one. Because I know it's not going to get many answers on this.
I was thinking about Secret of the Ooze.
Which movie is better than you remembered? Billy?
Better than I remembered. I'll just go Secret of the Ooze.
Jimmy?
I know this doesn't go with my last answer, but I actually think the first Michael Bay one is better than I remember, even though it's still the worst.
That's fair. Mike?
Part 3.
Ooh, that's a hot take.
Damn.
I'm going to say the original, because I thought it would be fine, but I didn't know it would be great. I think it's great.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Which movie was worse than you remembered? Billy?
Worse than I remembered. The second Michael Bay film.
I agree. Second, that one, whatever that was called. Out of the
Yeah.
Shadows.
Yeah, Out of the
2014,
Shadows,
the first
The first one?
quote Michael Bay one.
I'm going to go with Out of the Shadows as well, because I liked it the first time I saw it, and this time I was like, no. Best soundtrack?
Oh, that's by far Secret of the Ooze.
Secret of the Ooze?
The
Jimmy?
first movie has a banging soundtrack. Hammer,
Yeah.
Partners in Crime. I think it's really good.
Mike?
Mutant Mayhem, and it's not even close.
Mutant Mayhem for me as well. If you could pick a movie to redo with your direction, which one would you pick? Billy?
The first Michael Bay films. I know I can make a much better film than he did.
I think Secret of the Ooze, as a follow-up to the original, I think it could be a lot better.
That's a good one. Mike?
Part 3 for reason I mentioned earlier.
Part 3 as well for me. Of all the movies, who is the greatest casting in the history of the Turtle franchise? You have to only pick one person, though.
Judith Hogue.
I think because that movie's subpar and he makes it even better, I think I'm going to say David Warner.
That's a great
That
pick,
is,
too.
yeah.
Nice.
I'm going to say Paul Rudd as Mondo Gecko. I just
Yeah, that's a
freaking
good one
love
too.
him. Who is the worst casting in the history of the Turtle franchise? Billy.
Johnny Knoxville.
It's a good pick.
That's a
Jimmy.
really good pick.
Stephen Amell.
Okay.
Yeah.
Y'all are picking not the one I thought you were going to pick. Mike, are you going to pick the one I think you're going to...
Stephen Amell.
Yeah.
Oh!
Oh.
I picked Megan Fox as April O'Neil.
That is, yeah.
I don't hate her in that role. I nothing her in that role. I'm just indifference towards her.
Yeah, I feel the same
Yeah,
way.
I'm the same way. Yeah.
She fits what those movies are. That's unfortunate, but she does fit what they are.
Yeah,
Right.
I do plan on seeing Mutant Mayhem somewhat soon because I do like the
You
artwork.
should see it. You should
Watch
see
it with an open
I like
mind.
the artwork. The artwork of it looks really good.
Remember,
And it's
I didn't love a lot of things about it, but I still gave it 4 out of 5.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's still a
For
very fun story for
I
as
know.
different as it is from previous
Right.
stories.
And
I do want to see another one. I want to see what they do with it.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm interested to see.
And
where
I
this
understand
goes.
it's a different universe and all that. So
It's a very good way to think about it.
All right, thank you for joining us for yet another episode of Turtlecast. Jimmy, how can the listeners help support our podcast?
Well, they can go on to Facebook and they can find the Turtlecast Facebook page, and they can follow the Facebook page, and there's all kinds of updates there. By the time this posts, we will be live with podcasts. So I'm getting used to this voice. We will be live with podcasts, so you'll be able to see if you on your phone, if you subscribe to us, Turtlecast on Spotify or Apple. There's a couple others that'll all be listed. So whenever those update and upload, they'll go right into your phones, and that'll be a real humdinger.
Also, make sure to give our sister podcast a like. Almost Got 'em, a podcast about Batman the Animated Series. We'll be returning in late October with the episode about the Gray Ghost. I'm very excited for that one. Next time on Turtlecast, the ultimate toy collector himself, Jimmy Humphrey, will teach us everything we need to know about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle toy empire. Say that 5 times quick. I'm Brandon Ingram.
I'm Mike Waters.
I'm Billy Duckett.
And I'm Jimmy Humphrey.
Cowabunga!
Oh, what a surprise! Open your presents! Yeah, it's Raph the Magnificent! Hey, the rabbit pops up! Here's another one! Yeah, open mine! No, mine! It's Crazy Clown and Mike! Wow, extendo legs! Open this one, dude! Come on! Oh, it's Party Reptile Leo! What does he do? Yeah! Bodacious birthday turtles! Just what I've always wanted!
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.